Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Real Podcast. I'm your host, David Moya, and we have an exciting show. We have special guest Amy Spear with Pacific Sotheby's International Realty. Amy, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited, David.
And we have Melissa Howell of San Diego Funding with us today, be a part of the show. She'll be asking some questions. It's a great relationship that I've been able to just come to understand and know that I want to share with everybody. But first, let's dive into a little bit about Amy and her background and some story behind her. She's a 2019 SDAR Rookie of the Year.
Woo-hoo!
Congratulations, Amy.
Thank you.
Great history, great story, how you got into the industry. What I really love is just how you were able to create success pretty quickly and early on in your career. So we'll touch on that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of foreshadowed just your relationship that you have with Melissa and then how you guys are doing some projects together, how you've been able to be more successful together. And then, of course, how you're using video and your mindset and how you've created kind of like a really great playbook for yourself and how you continue to succeed. So thank you both for being on the show today.
I'm excited to share. Thank you.
So Amy, I kind of give everybody a little breakdown about who you are and whatnot, but just if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, so those who may not know who you are can get a little more better understanding about your background. And then just your success over the last, year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, sure, David. So it's almost been 2 years working in real estate sales. Prior to that, I was in a completely different field. I worked with a government affairs kind of lobbying firm in San Diego, located downtown for almost 6 years. And prior to that, I actually lived in Washington, D.C. I worked for a U.S. senator for about 4 years. And then I worked for a variety of other elected officials. So I'm originally from the Midwest. I grew up on a farm. So never in my wildest dreams did I think I would be living in Southern California, selling, amazing homes, living by the ocean. So very exciting. My husband was in the Navy, and that's why, we moved here. We currently live in Mount Helix in a really cool kind of mid-century modern home. So no plans to leave, and we love it here.
Nice. So yeah. You have you came from the Midwest. Was there kind of a culture shock? What was the difference for you? Maybe right away that you experienced.
That's a good question. I think it's not, San Diego's not LA. I think people are friendly here and welcoming. Midwest is just a little slower perhaps, and people maybe are a tad bit more friendly, but I wouldn't say it was a huge culture shock. It's just sometimes I'm giddy that I get to see the ocean, and I get, that I get to hike, mountains, and right outside my office, I get to see mountains every day. It's just kind of crazy growing up on very flat land. So it's amazing out here, and I understand why people love to live here. Nice.
I love it. And Melissa, just to kind of, I want to allow people to understand a little bit about yourself too, just, some background and maybe how you met Amy.
I'm sorry, say that again?
That's just a little background about who you are and how you met Amy.
Oh, I work for San Diego Funding, and we're affiliated with Pacific Sotheby's, and I am the loan officer in her office.
Nice. So hey,
I've been in San Diego Funding about 7 years.
Nice, fantastic. And then you guys met there, and then that's how the relationship has developed.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Amy, what got you into real estate?
I think that's a great question. And for me, I really decided to transition into real estate sales because I wanted to work for myself. Like, I've always worked in kind of this conservative, very office-focused jobs. And I just love the idea of being able to transition where, you can make your own hours, you can work as much as you want, you can make, really as much as you want in this field. And I just was ready for a change. I've been doing that for, 15 years or so. And I thought, now or never. And so I decided to try my hand at real estate sales, and thankfully I like it.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, when you make a transition, though, I would say that transition was pretty a pretty meaningful one, right? Because you were gathering all this knowledge and information with all your past career, and it kind of segued really nicely into what you're doing now. And just to reiterate, so it was being able to create something, have your own business, create some flexibility for yourself, but then also have no ceiling, really, right? So you can create as much success as you wanted to in the industry.
Yeah. I recall so many times negotiating with my bosses on my salary.
Uh-huh.
And I did that every year. I'm sure they're like, oh God, here comes Amy again. But now I don't have to, I, can make as much as I want, and my business is my business. And I think that's just an awesome feeling. So.
Nice. And Melissa, how in the short period of time that you've known Amy, how has this kind of evolved? How have you seen like her growth? And I think it's pretty remarkable. I actually know Kim Cole, who won the Rookie of the Year prior to you, who's also with Sotheby's, and it was just cool kind of how I saw her start and create success relatively quickly as well. And now I see Amy, who I just met early this year, and just, seeing you on Instagram and Facebook and just kind of like what you're continuing to do. I'm seeing that, like, your journey, because, thank God social media, right? We can kind of keep track of each other that way and see your footsteps along the way. But for Melissa, how have you kind of seen that? And, or maybe there's a unique story there, or maybe a unique experience or something that stood out for you when you met Amy.
Well, Amy's always been just very aggressive in the market. She's a really, really good agent. But I've seen her videos have gotten better. Everything's just gotten stronger. Her offers have gotten stronger. She has so many clients, so she keeps us busy.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, you have, and I know that we'll talk a little bit about Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sarah, who is a big part of what you're doing, and she actually commented here on the thread. She says, "Yay, Amy and Melissa!"
Hey, Sarah Scott. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah, for watching.
She's a huge supporter for your success and a mentor. So we'll get to that in a little bit as well, and the importance that played in your success. But let's talk about your success. So you won, Rookie of the Year last year. Can you tell us what specific things you maybe have done or did to create that success for you early on?
So, if I was giving advice, what did I do that I thought worked? The first thing I did was, I'm a big planner, and I wrote a business plan, and I was very specific. Like, I had very specific goals. One of those goals happened to be win Rookie of the Year. So I'm glad that goal was successful.
So that was like one of your goals.
Yeah. I wrote that down, 2 years ago when I first started. And I think I look at my goals every single day. So I think it just kind of reinforces, like, this is the work that you have to put in. I would say the second is, this was a new field for me. So, like, education to me was so important. Like, for the first 6 months, I just, like, pretended I was in school. I was in school for 8 hours a day. And thankfully, I joined a really great team, the Scott Finn team. I had a mentor, Sarah Scott, who was watching. Thank you. And she, every single day, she was available to me. We role played a lot. We went through contracts. And she was just amazing. I think the other thing that was important is I always talk about asking for the order. And, I had a pretty large sphere of influence from my previous career.
Sure.
And I was very direct in asking them, will you work with me? And I think a lot of people maybe would be nervous, but, they've worked with me before. They know my work ethic, and, a lot of them decided to work with me. Some of them didn't, but that's fine. There's a lot of rejection in this business.
Sure.
That's fine. And I think too, just, follow up is really important. So, I've had clients where I followed up maybe the fourth time and they finally responded to me.
Yes. Yeah, it just takes time. Now, in regards to the asking for the order, can you dive into that a little bit? So first, but before that, just to reiterate, you planned, right? So you really created this detailed business plan for yourself and your goals. Two is you study like you were in school, like you're studying to graduate with high honors, and you're dedicated.
Totally.
You're putting in the time and focus. And then once you were out in the field and working with buyers and sellers, you're saying that you would ask them to work with you, or is that you would like contact your sphere and then you would just say, hey, this is what I'm doing now. I would love to help you.
I think both. So first, I did a lot of open houses in the beginning. And when I followed up with those people, I was very specific, let's work together. Will you work with me? Not so, wishy-washy.
Sure.
And then, cause that's easy to blow off. But if you're very direct, you'll get a yes or a no, and then you can move on.
Right.
And then
creating clarity. I mean, that's so true.
Create clarity for yourself.
For yourself and for them, because you almost make them make a decision, which is good direction for them. They need to make a decision. And if you're a clear no for them, then fine. But then you can move on and they can move on. So you're almost, even if you get a no, you're doing a service, a good service for them, because you're giving them the opportunity to move on.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, you don't waste your time. You only have so much time in the day. Focus on the people that, say they want to work with you. Yeah. And I think too, it was helpful to perhaps have a few deals. And then my friends saw that I was, being successful, and they felt more and more comfortable, starting to work with me. So I would say out of, let's say the 20 homes that I sold, probably 15 of them are with people, that I know through friends or colleagues or friends of friends. So, for me, I think a referral-based business is the way that works best for me. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, that's turned out the way that I thought it would. Nice.
Now you said you've done open houses, or you were doing open houses when the world allowed you to at that time, right?
Yeah.
At least in person. Now you can do it virtually, which is great, and hopefully soon we'll be opening up 100%. But now, Melissa, did you guys work at all during that situation where you're maybe co-hosting an open house? How was your relationship during that time?
Melissa and I's relationship is fairly new. There was a different lender in that office, and we did do open houses together.
Nice.
But my last couple deals have been with Melissa, and I'm sure, I know Melissa has a family, and now I feel more. I probably won't be asking her to, sit there with me if she doesn't want to. But
I would love
to. I guess we can hang out.
Yeah.
But Melissa's been awesome, because the last few deals that we've done together have been really competitive. We're actually working on one last night. Last night we were working together.
Nice.
Changing financing on a deal. So the great thing about Melissa is she's so flexible. She'll work late on a Sunday. Thank you, Melissa, so much. And, and the last deal that I closed a couple weeks ago, I think there were 7 offers.
Wow.
And Melissa called the agent. She's always talking through the other side and we won. So, I think a lot of that has to do with just a really responsive lender. So
sure.
While we haven't done open houses together, we've certainly been able to work on cool deals together.
That's great. That's great. I love that. and as you're putting in the hours and you're working every day, probably, right? Especially initially, you have to really put in that time. What since then to now, what has really surprised you feel about real estate that maybe you didn't anticipate it being a certain way?
I think that's such a good question. I anticipated having to think a lot about marketing and databases and things like that, but the nature of the business, I actually life more than I thought. And it's just because it's so competitive. I'm kind of a competitive person. Like I've played sports and I like to play games and I like to win, right?
Yeah.
And like every time you're going for an offer, it seems to be competitive in Southern California. Like my last four of the last 5 deals were multiple offer situations.
Wow.
And it's fun because you get to kind of strategically think about how you want to position your offer and what messaging to use. So, yeah, I don't know. I like that it's a competitive business. My light turned off. Hold on.
That's okay. Look at Sarah's your cheerleader. Like she says, of course I did. I love these 2 powerhouses. And then she says she never gives up. She's always looking for a solution. I love that. Yeah, I mean, you have to be resilient, right? Because like we mentioned earlier, like you're gonna get no's and you're gonna get some deals that fall through, or you're gonna get something that goes a little sideways that may be out of your control. So you have to be resilient and you have to just keep pushing through. So
yeah,
I love
figure out a way to make it work. Like that's always the goal.
Now, I know you were talking before your light went off there, but you said it's competitive. That was really something that you thought it would be competitive, but you didn't think it would be as competitive.
I didn't realize it was such a competitive business. Not only is there a ton of agents, like that's, competitive, but I didn't realize, I guess I've bought in the past and it wasn't a competitive deal, and I didn't realize how competitive it could be. Just being out there, like you need to work with an agent that kind of like knows what they're doing and can communicate well and is responsive, very responsive. Sometimes you have to work really late hours and odd hours. So yeah, I think it does matter, who you work with and the way that your agent communicates about you, the client.
Sure.
So yeah, but it's been fun. I like the competitive nature of trying to win, to secure a great home for a client, but it's also that like anxious kind of feeling every time when you're competing against multiple offers. So I don't know. It's exciting.
Now let's talk about really quick to give people who are watching, listening, and also, I mean, obviously timestamp this. Look, we're going through hopefully the last bits of COVID, but the last 4 or 5 of your deals have been during COVID, right? And they all have been environment where you have.
Yeah. Sorry, you broke up there, but yeah, I think one had 12 offers, one had 7. The one right now is 2, but still, that's not just 1 or 2; it's like 12.
Wow.
So,
is that across like all San Diego, or are you seeing that?
Yeah, I mean, one was in Mount Helix, one was in Scripps Ranch. Wow. It's actually all over the county. So there does seem to be an appetite for people to buy right now, and whether they're deciding they need like an office or they need more space, I don't know really what it is, but I think that people feel that the market seems to be coming back and that it will be fine. The prices aren't really dropping. If anything, prices seem to be, increasing a bit. So yeah, it's who knew?
Right. Now, Melissa, are you seeing that as well? Are you seeing that high level of activity still even through and during COVID?
Absolutely. I was so busy all weekend with pre-approval letters, calling listing agents to help get the offers accepted. It's very, very busy out there.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get my light back on here.
That's okay. And so the take your time, Amy. I think you can still hear me too. But in terms of having that competitive market, even though we're going through this COVID, you talked a little bit about really making your offer stand out, and it involves having a lender partner who's there to also make calls and to make sure that the offers are solid on both sides of the deal. So is that something that you have seen that during this time of COVID, you have had to also almost level that up even more because there's just so much competition?
I think, you always, of course, write a personal letter and why the client would love the home and be best fit for the home, and that they're, but I think right now you have to reiterate the strength of their loan and their strength of their finances. And, lending has, changed. Melissa and I are actually working on a little video about, 3 ways that loans have changed during COVID. So I think sellers really want you to address that, their job is very secure and they're in this industry, and there's absolutely zero reason that they're potentially going to lose their job. And, they're putting 20% down, and we've done all of the underwriting. So I think, really communicating how strong your buyer is on the loan side is important right now.
Now, you mentioned that video that you guys are doing. You're doing a ton of video. Let's talk about that. So video, how are you using that right now?
Right. I mean, you can't do open houses, right? So not only you have to be out and you have to be meeting new people. So thank God for video, right?
Yeah.
And I've been going out and doing kind of virtual tours of a lot of our listings. Obviously, if I have a listing, then I'm doing professional video using someone, like you, a videographer. But, thank God for social media. You can really educate your clients. You can, hopefully try to brand yourself still, meet new people. I'm working on increasing my followers. So, follow me.
Yes.
And,
yes. I already follow you, but yes, we'll include a link to your social media for sure.
Yeah, but there's just so many different aspects of ways you can use video. So, use professionals, but just get out there and do it yourself too.
So I 100% agree. And that's kind of why we have like courses and free webinars and tutorials, because one of my biggest reasons why we do video is more than just the production. Like, it's just more than just production. It's like, how can we help people communicate through video? So the production, like the video production, the high quality stuff is one way. But the other way is, on social media, or case in point, what we're doing right now, right? So we don't have $75,000 camera in my office, in your office, in Melissa's office. We're just doing, with the great technology that we do have. So my biggest thing has always been like, how can I help people communicate their message? And really, I think and I won't go into this too much, but I think there's a healing process with this, because how many of us have been afraid to do a video, right? How many of us have been nervous to create something because of feedback? Like I heard someone say, why do so many of us spend so much time on like Netflix, for example? And it's because like you could binge watch all day long for weeks or whatever, and no one's gonna, the movies, the programs don't judge you. They don't give you feedback, right? Because you can just take in that information. Whereas if you're out there creating stuff, you'll get feedback. I mean, even if you're posting something on social media that has no video, you might get feedback, and you might get some people upset. So there's always going to be an element of feedback, and so just pushing through that and realizing that I believe everybody has a message. Every one of us is special and unique, and we have our own voice. And I feel like video is so powerful right now, because I don't have to be downtown in San Diego and in Carlsbad at the same time. I don't have to pick one. I can be both, right? I'm with you down in Mount Helix. Melissa, I'm not sure where you're at, but I'm kind of in all those places virtually.
That's true.
So anyway, I think it's awesome that you're sharing your message and your brand through video.
Yeah, I don't think any of us love to watch their own videos. It's kind of like, oh my God, but at the same time, you have to do it. And I've just become more and more comfortable. You just have to keep going. Just keep going and you'll get better. That's kind of my mantra.
Always true. I mean, I remember when I first started to use email, and I was like so scared to use it, right? And I was young. I think I was in high school or something, and it's like you have to write it perfectly, and then you're like, what are they going to read this differently? Are they going to read it wrong? And then you get to a point where you're just like, you keep doing it, and then you get better. But imagine if you never sent an email out, like how far behind would you be right now? And I think that's the same for video. Like if you never took an opportunity to film, even if it's on your iPhone, like, do it, right?
I'll never forget the first time I went Facebook Live. It was like terrifying, but and then no one was watching. Like no one's actually watching.
Yes.
So you just have to go with it and do the best that you can. And hi, Kimberly.
Yes, Kimberly Cole. We just talked about you.
The Rookie of the Year watching. Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, we just talked about you, Kim. We were saying how awesome it was for you to have, for me to have watched you grow and succeed early on, and now I get to see that with Amy too. So that's so awesome.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So. Okay, so video, you guys are doing videos for your listings, you're doing videos for, kind of like what I call an educational series where you're, educating your clients in your database, right? You guys are doing that?
Yeah, I think at least my sphere of influence are kind of like smarty pants. And they like to know what's exactly going on in the market, and they want to know about loans, and they want to know about financing. So for me, I feel like my sphere is very interested in that. And thankfully, Melissa, we've talked through kind of, a few changes in lending over COVID. So I'm happy to bring that to my clients and then in my sphere, and I'll put it in, my June market update.
Nice.
So, I think you need to think through like, what's my sphere going to be interested in, and try to be educational. I mean, that's your opportunity to speak directly to them. So,
and the one that you're doing with Melissa, let's talk about that. You guys, it's like top 3 ways that financing has changed during COVID.
Yep.
So how did you guys come up with that idea, and what did you, walk me through that process? Because you haven't filmed it yet, right?
Well, no, we haven't filmed it. I'm actually going to film with Sarah Scott later today. Melissa, you're welcome to join us. But I was just thinking through, I have a client that, she's buying in the 1.1, 1.2 price range.
Okay.
And, her loan has changed during COVID, right? The way that she would have been pre-approved prior is not the case anymore. So
right.
I think people need to understand that
lenders have changed.
Yeah, so we have to put 20% down now, right? And lenders are doing less riskier loans. And I don't know, Melissa, if you want to elaborate.
You're doing great. It's just gotten a lot tighter. Investors have gotten a lot tighter across the board in all programs. So they really want as much down as possible. Their credit scores they're requiring higher credit scores than they used to. They're looking for reserves in case people do lose their jobs. They're requiring a lot more verification of the employment at the time. So, just a little bit rigorous across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine, Amy, that's something that you're experiencing with your clients as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some disappointment, but I think, as the market comes back, potentially some of these portfolio lenders will come back and have, some more, not aggressive. I mean, they're great loans, but, 20% down in Southern California is hard for anyone.
Sure.
So we'll see how it goes.
Amy, check this out. So we have Kimberly. She's in Arizona. We're having people all over the country watching us right now.
Wow, we're so cool.
and she has her kids watching too. So we're influencers.
Yeah, we're educating the young. I love it.
That's cool. Hey, Kim, say hi to everybody for us. The one thing I wanted to touch on again, we kind of, you know, were talking about it early on, which was if you were to give advice to a new realtor or someone who's coming into the industry, you obviously have created, you know, early success early on for yourself. What kind of advice would you have for them?
I think you need to go all in. Like, I was actually thinking of doing it part-time and like starting a public affairs firm, and that never would have worked out. You need to just go for it, save some money and go for it.
Nice.
I think too, you should consider joining a team. Like if I started just on my own, I never would have made it. I joined, you know, a successful team that had tools for me, that was able to, you know, literally be with me on a daily basis. So try to research, you know, what team would work for you. My
Sure.
team was 3 awesome, badass ladies, and I was excited to work for women. You know, like it you know, made me excited every single day. So join a team.
Okay.
And I think, you know, again, I talked about planning before, but you know, make sure you know what you're going to do every single day. You know, the day can get away from you. So, you know, start a daily routine, know what you're going to do every day, you know, have goals for yourself. And I think you'll be, you know, successful. So, and learn, just like soak it all in. You're new and you're not going to know everything. So I do reach out to very successful agents, and they give awesome advice. I think they really do want to be helpful and provide kind of lessons learned. So don't be afraid to reach out to the top people in the region and ask for advice. Like they're awesome.
Nice. Yeah, that's I mean, that's beautiful. It's kind of like something you don't see really as often as people might think, but once you approach them, I find that a lot of them are pretty open to helping. Of course, you're not going to have everybody open to that, but I think the ones that you want to get help from are the ones that want to open up anyway. So, you know, that's cool. That's cool to know. Now, you mentioned about saving up. Talk to me about that, because I feel like a lot of times a lot of us will get into something and we're infatuated by the idea, and then we realize that there's a lot more to it than just starting something. You know, like you mentioned, the business plan and all that. But you also mentioned about saving up. So what does that mean for you?
So for me, I knew what my mortgage was. I knew what my monthly, you know, expenses were, and I saved, you know, 6 months worth of that amount before I, you know, quit my day job.
Nice.
So I think it does. I think it took me what three maybe 4 months to have my first deal.
Okay.
And it is going to take you a few months to get going. Like there's a lot to learn. You can't just jump into it and be, you know, Mark Marquez, like, or Francine Finn. Like it takes time, right?
Sure.
So, you know, make sure that you're not totally stressed about your finances. Like have some savings so you can give yourself, you know, some flexibility, because you just never know when your first deal is going to happen. So I think that's important. It's not easy. It is hard work, and you just got to kind of stick it out, I guess.
Nice. So, and that comes down to like mindset, right? Because you're having to push through some challenging times, or you're questioning, you know, a lot of things, I'm sure.
Lots of doubt.
Yeah.
Lots of doubt on like, did I make the right decision? What am I doing?
Right.
Like I just left like a good career. Like, you know, I had a great job. So you know, if you're leaving a career where perhaps you were successful in a different field, but you do want to change, like, you know, give yourself at least 6 months. I know some people give themselves a year to do, you know, your first deal. So just try to be patient, because it does take time to get the ball rolling.
Mindset, how important was that for you in creating the success that you attained really quickly in the beginning of your career?
I mean, really important, right? I tried to stay positive. Thankfully, my team was extremely encouraging every day. You know, very rah, which is great. And, you know, my husband's very supportive. You know, I think that he probably secretly was like, I'm going to give her 6 months and then we'll go from there. thankfully, I got going quicker. So, you know, I think having, you know, surround yourself with people that have been positive.
Yep.
You know, I'm in like a lean in group,
Okay.
you know, with professional women, and we all get together once a month and talk through, you know, the issues that you're having. And they've always been so incredibly supportive. Like, definitely have like a little group to talk about, you know, professional development. So that's been helpful. Yeah, just talk it through and try to stay calm and collected. That's the best way to be.
Nice. Yeah, and I feel like you have that demeanor. When I met you, when we interviewed you in Rancho Santa Fe at Morgan Run, you had that demeanor, that energy, really poised, but like still very energetic about what you're doing, very passionate about what you're doing. So that definitely you exude that and that confidence. So it's super key, I'm sure. And I'm sure what you did prior to this really helped, right? Kind of build up to that point where you have to communicate in that way, right? Like you just said, with clarity and confidence.
Yeah, I mean, my job before, I actually did real estate because I thought it'd be less stressful. My job before, I worked with, you know, major clients, right? Like, you know, Regency Centers, who owns a ton of shopping centers. We worked for Westfield. We worked for Walmart. We worked for SDG&E. So these are all people that when they ask you for something, you need to give it to them in like an hour. And, you know, we were working sometimes in crises where, you know, they were getting bad news press and you had to, you know, work with reporters and things like that. So I definitely think that my background has helped me, you know, quickly adjust to perhaps some clients that might be stressed. Or, I mean, I've worked with some really angry people in my life, working in government and working, you know, on, you know, a lot of housing projects. People don't necessarily want housing next to where they live. And that's what I used to work on, like entitling housing. So this is actually easy sometimes in some respects. So yeah, I mean, I guess I just have worked, you know, in a lot of stressful situations.
Sure. And we talked a little bit about like your mindset and your daily routine and whatnot. You have a goal, so that goal is obviously at the forefront of your mind. What other ways are you helping to keep yourself inspired every day?
So you're right. I have like a daily routine, and part of that is I'm kind of a fan of Rachel Hollis. You know, I write down every day, you know, what I'm grateful for, 5 things, and then I write down like 10 dreams that I made happen. I know it's kind of like a little corny, but I think it reinforces like, you know, you should be grateful for what's going on in your life, and then, you know, helps you stay inspired about the things that you want to make happen in your life. So
awesome. I love that. I'm going to add that to mine because I have like the gratitude journal. Like I'll journal stuff, and then I'll actually write 5 things in the morning that I'm grateful for, and then I have some affirmations, and then in the evening I'll write 5 things that I'm grateful for that night, and then I'll write my affirmations. But having the dreams, that's great. Like stuff, because it just reminds you like what you're capable of.
Yeah, right? And I think a lot of them are pretty wild. Like she encourages you just to go crazy. And so there's certainly some dreams that maybe will never happen, but I'm going to try. And that is what it is. Like I'm going to write them down.
I love that. And books, like I know I like to ask books, what do you pick up? What are you reading right now, and why?
Yeah, thankfully, I mean, there's been a lot of books written about how to be successful in the real estate world. I've read, you know, Sell It Like Sirhan, Ryan's book. I thought that was really good. It kind of tells you, you know, try to keep as many balls in the air as possible, right? Like, don't focus on just 1 or 2 clients. You need to focus on like 20, because you never know when that deal might fall that ball might fall, and then you're, so I've really taken that to heart. Ninja selling, Pacific Sotheby's is a big ninja selling supporter.
Yes.
So it's a great book, and I think if you really do kind of want like a referral based business, it's a good book to kind of learn from.
Okay.
And how to kind of set that up. I don't know. And I'm a big believer in like reading the news, and every morning I'm going to do a plug for Michael Smerconish's on POTUS. He's like, I listen to him for 3 hours every morning. He's super bipartisan, independent thinker.
Uh-huh.
And I just feel like when you're out with clients, like, and they bring something up, you should know,
Sure.
what's going on in the world. That's important. So,
yes.
Yeah, read the news.
Nice.
I like politics, so of course, I'm a little bit more partial, but
sure. Yeah. And I don't know if Melissa has anything to add to that too. I think having a morning routine, I enjoy. I know some people who don't have that, but Melissa, what are you currently doing that you might want to share?
Sort of inspirational. I do the list of what I'm grateful for every day.
Nice.
I'm also a big goal setter, so mine is more of reaching out to clients that have been maybe possibly looking, or they haven't done anything in a while. So I reach out to clients quite often. I try to do at least 5 every day of people that were kind of stopped looking, and I just try to reach out to 5 different people every day to keep that going, even though I'm really busy. Like you guys said, I always want to try to make sure that I'm moving something forward somewhere else.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great place to kind of wind down. I do want to talk about your projection. Like, so you've really created this success. Again, really quickly, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Obviously, yeah, I keep going up. I'd love to be a top producer. I would love to have a large team.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really enjoy teaching people. So hopefully I can have, younger agents that I can kind of help them create systems and routines. And hopefully I get to travel more. That's one of the reasons why I transitioned into this career, and I'm hopeful that I get to go on bigger and better trips.
Yes.
And and hopefully I'm still in 5 years, I'm still happy in this industry and want to continue to invest in it. I think it's a really cool, unique industry for people that have a lot of drive and want to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, first of all, let's talk about your goals. That's awesome. Leading your own, being a top producer, I think you said top 25 in the county. So I'd love to check back with you on that.
Yeah, we'll see. And I will say, if Sarah's watching, it could be with you, Sarah. We could do it together. So.
Yeah, and it's great because I feel like you could sense, and Melissa probably agrees with me because she works with, Scott Finn, like, you can sense like how invested she is in you, right? Like you can feel
absolutely.
that. Melissa said absolutely. It's like she didn't have to be on the live right now and like make all these comments to be your cheerleader, but she made the time to be here. She made time to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Sarah has so many strengths, and I have almost different strengths. Sarah's like, funny and outgoing, and we're good. We're a good match.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. Where could someone find out more about yourself and your listings, your services, etc.?
Yeah, follow me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm Amy Spear, and then SD for San Diego Realtor. You can definitely follow me there. You can reach out. My number is 619-808-4088. Or you can, go to the website. It's scottfinnhomes.com. And you can reach me there. So please reach out. I'd love to hear from you.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much. You guys have been such a great wealth of knowledge and information for someone who's new and someone who's been seasoned realtor for a while. I always feel like the people that are always staying relevant are the ones that continue to learn. And I always feel like the new agents kind of bring a breath of fresh air. They're able to see things maybe a little bit differently. You have a great background with a ton of knowledge. So I appreciate you for being on the show. And Melissa, thank you so much for also being on the show and for
Absolutely.
chiming in. And I'd love to have you guys both back on talking about the projects that you're doing, with the educational stuff. And I'd love to continue to watch you guys grow. And thanks again for being on the show.
We'd love to come back, David, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, Amy, have a good day, and we'll talk soon.